Croeso and welcome. Welcome to Monsterhearts 2. Tonight we're playing on the Gauntlet to Hangouts. We are playing Monsterhearts 2, based in the wonderful land of Wales. I have 4 players joining me tonight. We have Donna, I hope I pronounced that right, Jordan, Paul, and Ryan. And we'll be playing the first of 2 sessions of Monsterhearts. It was supposed to be 3, but unfortunately there was a slight sickness on my behalf last week. So we're going to try and get the story started as quickly as possible tonight. Before we start, I'd just like to actually talk to each of the characters in turn. I'd like to ask you to tell us about your character. Tell us a little bit about their personality and background, and we'll go through and do your background questions. So I'll start off with Donna. Can you tell me about your character, please?
So my character is Sienna. She is the Fae. Her origin story is Fae-blooded, and I like to imagine that her family has been intertwined with the true blood Fae who live up the mountain for many generations. She is, I think, very outgoing, very friendly, and let's see, disheveled look and mesmerizing eyes. I kind of imagine that she always looks like she has walked in from the mist. She's always a little bit damp in her hair.
Okay, so you say she's always a little bit damp. Is there an elemental to her? Is there that connection to the water there?
I think maybe it's the mist that traditionally gathers around where the Fae groves are. You know, it's something elemental in that fashion rather than from the sea.
Okay, brilliant. And can you give us your background questions, please?
Okay, so I have 2. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Give everyone 1 string.
Okay, so if people can note that on the character sheets.
And I have captured someone's fancy. Gain 2 strings on them.
Actually, I've just realized we need to actually know what all the different characters are before we go through and actually do these questions. I'm sorry, it's the first time I'm running this game, so little steps. I do apologize, Donna. We'll go back and do the background questions after everyone's described their characters. So we'll go on to Jordan next. Jordan, can you tell us about your character, please?
Oh yeah, my character is Medea McInnes. And I think I'm picturing Medea as a girl that reads a lot. Like that was her personality as a child. And I think she's a little bit on the uptight and kind of reserved side. Like the kind of person who's always together, no matter where. Well, when you see them, they're always kind of together, and they're always like they're in their own world, like looking out for you in it, with a kind of like calculating and appraising look, like how much is this person worth to me?
And what playbook are you playing?
I'm playing the Witch.
Okay, brilliant. And is she a local from the area, or is she coming from outside the area to study at the school?
No, I think she's coming from somewhere else in the UK. I'm probably like I think Edinburgh, some city in Scotland.
Okay, brilliant.
So this is far from home, not like across an ocean far from home.
Brilliant. Okay. And up next we have Paul. Paul, can you tell us a bit about your character, please?
Hey, yeah, I am playing Victor Montague, who is the ghoul. Victor is it's quite tall, quite skinny, and he looks like he's been thrown down like a flight of stairs like 6 times in a row. He's constantly like bruised, and he's got like sort of chipped tooth. It looks like he's been in a fight all the time. His hair's like blonde thatch of hair that's just like all over the place and it's messy. And he has very, very harsh eyes, and he has a hunger, and his hunger is for thrills.
Excellent. And what sort of things does he do to actually get those thrills?
He craves like self-destruction, basically. He's dead. He was resurrected and brought back to life in some way. And now his life feels almost like that. Life seems meaningless to him. So he's just constantly driven to destroy himself all the time. He has absolutely no sense of self-preservation at all, and he gets a thrill from like, he's like, you get these sort of adrenaline junkies who get a thrill from like throwing themselves off like bungee ropes and stuff. He gets a thrill off that, but it's the actual bit where the bungee rope fails and he like hits the ground that he gets the real thrill out of. So he's got a move which is short rest for the wicked. So when you die, wait it out, and a few hours later you wake up fully healed. So he's almost like, he's almost like he's this 16-year-old kid with no sense of self-preservation and infinite lives, basically.
And when he comes back from the dead, is he the same? Is he different? How many of his wounds carry over?
All of them. I like to think they heal really slowly. Like they heal. They don't hurt him, but he's really bashed up. Like maybe he's like in a wheelchair as well.
Okay.
I can imagine like maybe like his legs are like kind of smashed to pieces. He can barely walk like without the use of like a sort of crutches and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So so you are a wheelchair user.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So next up we will have Ryan. Ryan, can you give us a little bit of information about your character, please?
I'm playing Daniel Moran, the ghost. Dang, I'm already forgetting the format people were going through. But yeah, my look is generally kind of, forlorn, lost. I have very pained, kind of just sad, lonely eyes, and died in a tragic accident, the details of which I'm not totally clear on right now, but I'm sure it'll be heart-wrenching and awful.
Did you die at the school, or did you actually die before coming to the school?
I think I totally died at the school. I think that Daniel's, maybe American or something. He was sent here. His family's not even in the same country, and I don't think they're totally aware that he died. Like they're not very involved in his life generally, so he's just kind of been abandoned here.
So, with that in mind, what does his family do? Are they part of the? Are they part of a big corporation? Are they diplomatic staff with the U.S. Embassy? Are they part of the military or?
Yeah, they're totally diplomatic staff, and normally he'd go to a school for like diplomats, children, and everything. But they heard really good things about this one, and also it meant that he'd be a bit distant and well cared for, and they wouldn't have to check in quite so often because they're terribly busy people. So they sent him off to the country to
excellent
die at this school.
Is he an only child?
Yes, he is.
Okay. So that's the basic characters. So with that in mind, we will actually go and do the next part that I rushed to. We'll go and do the background questions. So we'll start off with Donna again. We've got the first one of yours, which is you wear your heart on your sleeve.
Yeah,
So,
everyone still gets a string.
So would you like to ask the second one?
Yeah, the second one is I have captured someone's fancy.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to take that? Anyone at all?
Yeah, sure.
No one-
Victor will take it. Yeah, Victor's like he's kind of obsessed with you. Maybe he's even been sort of stalking you recently. But yeah,
But I think it's like you have caught my fancy, right? There's something about you that I must have, right?
Yeah, of course,
Yes.
yeah.
Because you gain strings on him, not the other way around.
Ah.
Wait. Who gets the strings? I'm confused now.
The strings would actually, sorry, let me just
Yeah,
read
yeah.
this.
I get 2 strings on whoever
Oh.
I've. Sorry, let me read it again.
Yeah, sorry.
I have captured someone's fancy, so I guess you must be obsessed with me, and I get 2 strings on you.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're
The way
quite
I'm
right.
reading it.
Yeah. So, Paul, you get 2 strings on Paul, and Paul would be one who's looking after your character.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, brilliant. So next up, Jordan, would you like to ask the first of your background questions?
Certainly. I start the game with 2 sympathetic tokens. I decide whose and what they are, and sympathetic tokens are like small personal items belong to people, and that I can use to cast hexes on them. We've only got 3 other characters. So one of them might be an NPCs, but I think one of them is probably Sienna's.
Well, you asked and I gave it to you, right? That's how I roll. I mean,
well, not necessarily. By the way, this one is written. Because my next piece of background is one of the others caught you rummaging through their friend's stuff but hasn't said anything. So it could be that I stole it. What kind of clothing do you wear?
I think. Do we have a school uniform or?
Yes, everyone has a deep maroon school blazer that they wear, white shirts, school ties.
So it's I guess outside of school hours we can still kind of wear what we want.
By all means, yes. You're
Okay.
only required to wear it during the school day.
So I think Sienna wears kind of plain woolen tops, maybe a skirt and tights or jeans or whatever, but it's always, I think, something quite homely or outdoorsy, or at least masquerading to be outdoorsy. In neutral colors, maybe a light brown or a cream. Probably some simple jewelry, but nothing ostentatious.
I think maybe you have a set of wood earrings that you really like to wear.
Yeah.
And then they might not even necessarily have a shape. They might just be like roots or something like that.
Random bog jewelry.
I have one of them. I think I took one of them.
Okay, cool.
Brilliant. And that leaves one other token.
I'm not sure I necessarily need a second token because of how small our cast is. Unless you think I should make an NPC for it.
If you want to hold off and pick one of the NPCs once we've done the dorm room, then by all means you can certainly do that. That's not an issue.
So in that case, I'll hold off.
Okay. And what is your second question?
My second question is: someone caught me rummaging through their friend's stuff. Who do we think that is? I kind of think this was Daniel.
I was thinking that too, and that I'm
He's the
sneaky
obvious
ghost.
culprit here. What were the circumstances here?
So, did you steal Sienna's earrings then?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I totally saw you do that, and it was kind of an exchanged look where we're just like, we both see this, but we both shouldn't be around her stuff, and never spoke of it.
I like this. There was just something about it I didn't like.
Mm-hmm. And
I knew
I
that
probably
bitch.
shouldn't even be in the girls' dorms regardless, so, who's gonna bring that up? Why were you rummaging through her stuff? Why was I even in her room? Who knows?
Goes around just putting fucking trees on her fucking ears.
Mm-hmm. Pretty weird.
What a hippie shit.
Brilliant. Okay, so what if does that give any strings or?
Yeah, I think Daniel has a string on me.
Brilliant. Okay, Paul. Can we
Hmm.
have the first of your background questions, please?
Sure. The first one is, someone reminded me of what love was when I thought that death had stolen it away from me forever. Give them a string.
Okay.
So who was it? Who reminded me of what love was? Well, I think it's got to be Sienna.
Did I do something kind and completely ignoring the state of you that maybe reminded you what love was?
And that's now why I'm completely obsessed with you.
Okay. But this was just a casual thing to me. I didn't give it a second thought, maybe.
Yeah, Victor certainly doesn't think that. There's nothing casual about this relationship whatsoever.
What could that have been?
Something like really. I imagine it's something like a really sort of small kind of, almost like mundane gesture that can almost be passed off by anyone else. It's just like, being friendly to somebody and being nice. But for some reason, like Victor's really taken it as like you've shown him
something like something stupidly normal, like talking to you when we were just hanging around the same place waiting for some kind of school announcement. And maybe Victor's used to people ignoring him all the time because he makes them uncomfortable.
Oh no, I've got a great idea. How about you helped him because he's a wheelchair user, and maybe you helped him sort of I don't know, get sort of up some steps like in his wheelchair or something like that.
Sure.
That's incredibly.
Yeah.
That fits perfectly because the building is a very old building, and obviously it's had some adaptations made for accessibility, but it is still a building that was never designed with wheelchair accessibility in mind.
Yeah, I've got an idea. Maybe the main entrance to the school, it's up some really, really steep steps, and they've built a wheelchair access ramp, but it's really long and winding, so it takes Victor 10 times longer to get up there than all the rest of the students. So maybe in the morning, all the students just rushed up the steps, and Sienna took the time to push him up this big long winding ramp.
Yeah.
And maybe she does that every morning.
Okay, it's our little ritual.
Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I believe that you take one string. Yeah, I give you one string on me.
Okay, yeah.
So here's the question: It's your little ritual. You obviously agreed to help Victor, but did you state how long you'd help Victor for, and do you consider this a contract?
Well, of course, I said I would help him up, and I didn't foolishly suggest any end of contract lifespan. So, for me, I've got to be here every morning at 8:45 or whatever it is, or else.
I like the idea in play that maybe this has only just happened one time actually, and maybe we can see it in play like develop into this ritual.
Okay, yeah.
And then it could become like the contract, like from there.
Brilliant. And what's your second question, Paul?
Did anyone watch Victor die? If so, we gain 2 strings on each other. Now, I think that Victor died in a car crash, in an automobile accident.
Okay.
Um,
Is that linked with Ryan's death in any way?
Oh, I don't know. Daniel, what do you think?
Sorry, Daniel, I do apologize. I've got to use the character names.
It's okay.
It's totally fine. Sure. Given that I died in a tragic accident, we could have died in a tragic automobile accident, and then we're both dead.
Mm.
And I don't know. Did you kill me or something? Maybe. But...
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Because I was gonna go one of 2 ways. Either like Victor was like in the car with one of his parents, and like they crashed, and his parent died, or maybe he's a real bad boy, like rebel, and he like stole a car or something. You know? I think that's maybe because he's an adrenaline junkie, isn't he? He has a hunger for thrills. So yeah, I think he stole a car and then smashed it into somebody.
Really want this to be a motorcycle.
Does
a motorcycle? Okay, yeah, okay.
Does
It doesn't
Daniel
have to.
know that does Victor know that Daniel is dead?
Well, if you smashed it into someone, was I not necessarily a passenger, but like it was dark out and you hit me?
Yeah.
And you didn't stop to see who you hit?
Yeah, it's like a hit and run. Yeah.
So nobody's totally sure that I'm dead then, except maybe, I don't know. Well,
so your accident was a tragic accident. Someone being cut down in the prime of their life is tragic, but what specifically makes this even more tragic? Were you out on your first date with someone?
Oh yes. Just about to get your first kiss. Plowed down by a
yes, and like I was headed out to meet them or something when I was, hit suddenly, and I probably don't know all the details of what happened, given that it was dark and I was just plowed down, and ended up blowing them off afterward because I didn't want to explain why I wasn't out.
Okay, and what was their name?
I'll just snag another one from my sheet because then I'm not stepping on anyone's name toes. Let's say it was an Alistair.
Alistair, okay.
Yeah.
Does Alistair share a bunk with you? Or does he have a different bunk room? When I say share a bunk, you have dorm rooms with 2 beds in each room. Do you have the same dorm room or do you have a different dorm room?
I think we have different dorm rooms.
Okay. So I'm jumping ahead slightly. Can you please go to the classroom tab? And can you put the blue tabs on there are for the male students. Can you please mark yourself on one and mark Alistair on another?
So are all of these blue squares just one person, or is that a room?
That's one bed in a room. If you notice, there are 2 beds to each of the dorm rooms, and there's 3 separate rooms in the private suites upstairs. That could be any gender.
Oh, I see now.
I'm jumping ahead slightly, but given where we were, I thought it was appropriate to fill that out somewhat.
Wait, I was filling in him or me, or?
I'd like you to put yourself in, and I'd like you to put Alistair in as well.
Okay. And there's me. Okay.
Okay, brilliant. So, Victor and Daniel both gain 2 strings on each other.
Yeah, that's right. 2 strings on each other.
Brilliant. Now, Daniel, it's time for your backstory. We have the first question, please.
So some of my backstory is now filled in because we know who killed me. And, oh, I suppose I should type in that also. I saw him die. So someone knows that I'm dead and how I died. I suppose this could be Victor, but does anyone else want to know that I'm a ghost?
Well, I think we want more characters pointing at each other, so I'll volunteer.
I like tangled webs.
Medea. And it makes sense, especially. I wonder. That doesn't quite fit. I was thinking about this as an answer to someone saw. I wonder if I was watching. Not person. Like one of my hexes is I can see through people's eyes.
Yes.
And like maybe I think I'm not sure I want to go with that because that makes this death too much of a clusterfuck if everyone's there. But I think I tried to scry on you or through you, and something didn't quite work right. Or like there's a kind of like when I scry, there's like tethers that reach through the universe. Like souls. You see souls when you kind of reach out through the ether. And it's blindingly obvious from the quality of your soul that it's not attached actually to a living body, but is in fact a thing of the world of souls and not a thing of the.
Yeah, when normally you'd follow the thread back to the person, it's just like soul. That's it.
I don't know if that makes entire sense, but it's not quite so dualistic.
Was there some sympathetic feedback when you was scrying? Is this something that actually happened to you as a result of the scrying that let you know that Daniel was deceased?
Oh yes, like however exactly it worked, it was incontrovertible, at least in my mind, that Daniel is dead.
And you also know how I died. So did that like include information, or did you just piece that out?
No, I think it was the moment that I reached out to kind of touch you that, like what I got instead of getting in your head was a really vivid flashback to this moment of death.
I love it. Okay, so you get 2 strings on me for that.
And I think this was probably in response to you seeing me having stolen the thing. So I'm trying to like snoop back on you.
Mhm.
Excellent. So do you have another background question?
I do. I've been inside someone's bedroom when they were sleeping, and I get to take a string on them.
Okay.
Well, we know you've already been in my bedroom, right? Spying on someone stealing my jewelry.
Yeah. Although, hopefully we weren't both in there snooping on your stuff while you were asleep. I mean,
Well,
was a big
this could have
idea.
been a different time, right?
That doesn't have to have actually been the first time that you were in there. He's quite right.
And I was initially thinking Victor, but I have so many strings on Victor already. I think... Well, a lot of people have strings on Sienna and not so many on Medea. So I'll say that I snuck into Medea's room because I saw her going through someone's stuff and I thought that snooping around in people's places was my thing. So I wanted to go see what she's up to.
My.
Brilliant.
So I take a string on her.
Okay. So if everyone can go to the classroom tab now, we're going to fill out the dorm rooms. So we've already got 2 people on there. We have Daniel and Alistair, who are opposite each other along the central corridor in the east wing of the house. If you notice the dorm rooms themselves, you can see that there are pink boxes and blue boxes. There are 2 pink boxes per room, 2 blue boxes per room. Those represent the different dorm rooms, and there are 2 students per room. If you scroll down further, you'll actually see that on the first floor, the one above the ground floor, there are 3 private suites, which are held by students who have more money, or alternatively, those who have special requirements and special needs. So in this instance, Victor, I would like you to choose one of those private suites and actually fill it in, please.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because I imagine it's like the only kind of wheelchair accessible, like, sort of suite.
It's probably the one closest to the elevator.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot to put the elevator actually on the top floor. That was a mistake on my behalf. So if you take the central one would be the one that's closest to the elevator.
Yep. Okay. I'll take that one then.
Okay. So the thing is, all the suites were actually occupied at the time you had your accident. So in order to move you up there, they've had to move someone out.
Mm-hmm.
So who did they move out, and where did they go?
I imagine it was the really entitled, like, rich kid who like had their, they had their own private suite that they'd had like all year.
Okay, so what's their name?
His name is Hugo.
Hugo. Is it Hugo or Ugo? Is he
Hugo.
French or Hugo?
No, he's not. No, he's from Chelsea and Kensington.
Brilliant. So can you choose one of the one of the blue squares and put Hugo on there, please?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, he's now been moved into Daniel's room.
Okay. So were you occupying that room before your accident?
Yes.
Oh, so you two used to be bunkmates.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So with Victor in one of the top floor suites, I'll next move on to Medea. Which room would you take? Would you have a private room? Would you be downstairs amongst the in the normal bunk areas?
Well, I think Medea's got like the 1-2 punch in that she's trans and school still hasn't figured out quite what to do with queer stuff yet, and she's wealthy. So she definitely has, perhaps having moved out in the last year of one of the boys' rooms, now has her own one suite.
Okay, so can you pick one of the suites, please?
No, I'm going with the one closest on the other side of the stairs.
Brilliant. So I will ask you the same question that I asked Victor. If you have been moved up there, who have you replaced?
I think this suite was probably free at the beginning of the year.
Okay, that's fine. In which
That
case,
works.
yeah, that's fine. Sienna, the people the people to the west of you are incredibly noisy. They tend to play their music really loudly. They keep you up late at night. They refuse to actually turn it down. What's their name?
Let me think. I think there's a Regina.
Okay.
You want to? Is there two people in the room? Do I have to give two names or just one?
I just want to do for now.
Okay.
So, what sort of music does Regina play?
I think she has outstanding taste in death metal.
Excellent. As someone who's been watching Outgretsu recently, I fully appreciate that. Okay, so Regina plays death metal. Okay, so Regina's the other person who actually shares the room with you. How do they feel about Regina's loud music?
Well, I'm not sure I mind it, but they hate it.
Okay.
And that's probably the only reason I made any kind of complaints.
Okay.
My roommate's name is Wendy.
Okay. Brilliant. And how do you get on with your roommate?
She is very quiet, and I need to drag her anywhere to do anything. She's the ultimate wallflower. I think our room is right next to the common room, and I grabbed that first thing, and she was left not knowing what to do, and basically was the last bed left when it was her time to pick it. So we got stuck together in that way. So yeah, I'm always dragging her around to talk to people and get involved in common room social activities.
Brilliant. Okay, so what's her name?
Wendy.
Wendy, sorry, you
Yeah.
did say? Brilliant. Okay, so Victor, you're directly above the common room and kitchen. Who is it who cooks the most revolting smelling food that the smell seeps up into your flat from the kitchen below? Who is it that just puts the most vile things in there and your flat stinks of it for days?
It's what's his name? It's that Vietnamese kid. He's what's his name? Ooh. Let's call him Seb.
Seb.
Yeah.
That's short for Sebastian, or
I don't know. We just still call him Seb. That's his name.
okay.
But yeah, he's always cooking. I can't stand all that like exotic like food, and especially now Victor like doesn't actually eat anything.
Okay.
On account of him being dead and everything. The smell of like all this really like aromatic like spicy food like coming up through the floorboards just makes him want to puke.
Okay, brilliant. So with that in mind, Daniel. Force of habit, I'm used to having the lower thirds. It makes it so much easier. I really wish they'd
I miss lower thirds so much.
Yeah. Daniel, Alistair's moved out after the incident. So you've got Hugo in the room with you now.
Mm.
Alistair's hooked up with his new bunkmate. What's he like, and how does he feel about you?
Oh, how Alistair's bunkmate feels about me?
Yes.
I think Alistair's bunkmate is, by all means, a fairly nice guy. I mean, I don't have anything particularly against him, but as far as he knows, I just suddenly ghosted on Alistair. I've been avoiding him. I try not to make eye contact and everything. And I must be just, such a dick to just disappear on such a cool guy as Alistair. And I don't really want to explain myself, so I'm not doing anything to disabuse him of that notion.
Okay. Do you think Alistair still has a thing for you? Does he still carry a torch?
I think so, despite all sense, because it was sort of out of character for me to just straight up disappear. So I think maybe he's worried, like, oh no, maybe I'm worried about what my parents will think if I'm singing with a guy or something, or maybe something happened and I'm just feeling really awkward. I mean, he wants to think there's a good explanation for it, but he doesn't know what that might necessarily be.
Okay, and so what is Alistair's roommate's name?
I'm going to say Liam, because that's the first name I thought of.
Brilliant. Okay, so we will go to Sienna. Sienna, 1 second while I get back to the classroom. The person who lives off over the hall from you, back when you first moved in, they were really, really homesick. They were really having trouble adapting to living away from home. And they came to you for help. What did they ask you for?
They noticed that I have a huge variety of herbal teas, and one of them happened to be her favorite. So I just gave her that sort of section of my box. I have like a soap box under my bed with all of my tea bags in it. So I just gave her, a whole section of that flavor.
And what did you ask for in return?
So she is Regina's bunkmate, right?
No, this is the one to the south of you, across the corridor.
Okay. I want to know when the shower is free. Like first, basically I want some hot water. I want to get in there early, and so she warns me after the first person has got in.
Okay, and what's her name?
Morgan.
Morgan, brilliant. Okay. Thea, you've been going into people's rooms. If you look on the actual the classroom tab, there is a room opposite, next to Daniel and Hugo's room. There are 2 students that live in there, 2 twin brothers. When you've gone in there, you've snuck in there in the past. What is it you found, and what did you take from them?
What did I take from them? I feel like what I found was cigarettes. That they is this a? Let me look at this. Oh no, it's an indoor room.
Yes.
I think there's some kind of like fan or ventilator they've been smoking them next to try and keep the smell out.
Maybe they've got like a little tin that they keep like some really crappy like weed in, or something like that.
Oh yeah, weed's better. I found their weed stash. And half of it is dry as shit, and I'm pretty convinced that there's some oregano mixed in there. But nonetheless, I found their weed stash, and I took the I'm trying to remember what it's called, mouthpiece of their bong.
Okay. If it was a pipe, it would be called the neck. Yeah, so yes, we will say the mouthpiece of the bong.
Which was hidden along with the weed.
Excellent. Are they dealing weed on campus?
Yes.
Excellent. And do they know that you know?
Yes, but they know that I know because they tried to sell me it, and I bought from them before.
Brilliant.
Even though it's very, very not dank.
What are their names?
Thomas and Sebastian.
So we have a Seb and a Sebastian.
Yep.
So
we all call them Cheech and Chong. No?
Of course we do.
Okay. So Victor. If you look on the dorm room, there's a room right at the end with no one in it on the female side.
Uh-huh.
The two students there have gone away. They left the school in the middle of the night. What did you do that scared them so?
I think they saw me like in the common room. Like this is like when my first day back, when I sort of got out of hospital and stuff. And there's that game you play where you put your hand on like a desk and like bang a knife like in between the gaps in your fingers. Like Victor was like doing that like with like a kitchen knife kind of thing like that. And then and they saw him doing it and then realized that he was actually not even looking at where he was stabbing, and he's literally just like stabbing his like fingers. And yeah, maybe like he completely like chopped like the end of one of his fingers off or something, and I don't know, maybe to like freak them out, he like ate his own finger or something.
So did it grow back?
Yeah, sure. Like the next morning, yeah, it was back.
Brilliant. So
I'm going about trying to tell people, Victor, he ate his fucking finger.
Yeah.
It's right here. It's right here.
So they left in the middle of the night. Where did they go? Are they still at the school and now just staying off campus, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've been like student services have moved them out because they said that they didn't want to be anywhere in the same vicinity as Victor.
Brilliant. So what name shall we give them?
How about Poppy and Jasmine?
Hey. Brilliant. So we'll move on next to Daniel. Daniel, Regina's roommate. You've come across her at several points in the past. You've watched her leaving her room and going off to do things. On occasion, you followed her. What has she done that no one else? What has she done that she's trying to hide from everyone else?
My first thought was that she's lifting stuff from people's rooms, but that's Medea's thing, so she come up with a different shtick for her.
Well, I don't know. There could be two sticky fingers in the dorm, which would make the accusations that are flying around everywhere even more interesting. On the other hand, it could be good to go with something else.
I think she has a thing for just trying to take pictures of people when they're not aware that she's seen them. Like maybe she's got a camera phone or something, and I'd see her kind of like lurking around corners, trying to angle in on things, just get completely unaware photographic evidence of people. And don't really know why, but that's a kind of creepy hobby to have. So I've definitely watched her watching people.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. And what's her name?
Her name is, let's say, whoops, I actually type in here. She is Celeste.
Brilliant.
Can I X card that name if you don't mind?
Sure. I will pick a different name then.
Cool. It's the name of like one of my ex-girlfriends, and it'll.
Oh, okay. Then yes, that was never her name.
Cheers.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm taking a second to think of a different one.
Yeah, cool.
It's not completely absurd because now I'm coming up with like romance novel names. Heck with it. How about Francesca? Does that work for people?
Francesca's fine.
Cool.
There's only one creep allowed in this house, right? That's professional.
I am the creep.
courtesy.
Why is everyone sneaking around? It's my job.
Does anyone mind if I change Seb's name? Because we've got a Seb and a Sebastian. I think that might get a bit confusing.
Exactly, it is confusing.
Okay, yeah, if we keep that, and that could actually be like a feature. It's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
All right. Okay. Cool.
I mean, we could change the name.
No, let's keep it. I like that. I like the fact that the name's the same, but maybe they look like completely like opposites of each other.
Okay, so Seb, the Vietnamese student, had a roommate. The roommate last week was expelled. What? I'm gonna ask this of Sienna. Why were they expelled?
They tried to beat Seb up because they could not stand. Like he used to bring food back to his dorm room, and we think we've established that it's a little bit smelly, or at least some people think so. And he just lost it one night and started beating Seb up.
Okay, brilliant. So he's been excluded for attacking his roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe this kid's like a real bully as well. Like maybe it was like kind of racially bullying Seb as well, or something like that. But he's a complete arsehole, I think.
Yeah, this wasn't like just one incident that lit it
Yeah.
off. This was a long line.
Okay, and what was his name? Sorry, what is his name?
Jacob.
Jacob.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Jacob's the one who showed me how to hotwire a motorbike as well.
Oh, so a real bad boy then.
Yeah.
So when we say he's Jacob is racially abusing Seb, what level of abuse is that? Are we talking about the snide comments? Are we talking about stereotypes? Are we talking about how far up the ladder does that go?
I imagine, yeah, like using like really insulting kind of like racial slurs and sort of stereotypes and stuff, like never in front of the teachers or anything, but like in front of the other kids.
Okay. So how do people feel with regards to that in the game? How far are people comfortable with me going with that?
What you mean as players like us?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, as
If
players.
this is a traffic light, I would say like yellow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm cool with that being a reason someone was expelled. I'm not so cool with that being an ongoing bullying issue.
No, I don't really want to see it.
Yeah.
Come up and play.
Brilliant. That's exactly the reason I ask. Establish where the lines are so we don't cross them. Okay, so
I think like a caveat to that has to be kind of that it's completely unfounded. Like I'm not so comfortable with kind of like 16 candles, like a dirty Asian stereotype.
that was
If that
actually
makes
something.
sense.
That was something I was going to be bringing up as well. With people mentioning Seb's food over and over, there are certain stereotypes that certainly in the UK that Asian cooking gets. And that was something that I wanted to very much say. Me myself, that's an X card for me. The idea, one of the recurring themes that comes up in a lot of racist jokes directed at Asians and Asian cooking is the inclusion of dogs and cats in the cuisine. And that's something that I'm not particularly comfortable with having in the game. So for me, that I'd actually like to X card any mention of that. And
yeah, I feel about the same. And I like that Victor's issue is largely that it has smells, and Victor doesn't want to smell food, and that this kid whose name I've already forgotten, who was expelled, was just kind of an asshole, and that's not a real common thread in this school.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. And finally, we have one room remaining on the ground floor dorms. Morgan has a roommate. Morgan's roommate is from overseas and doesn't speak particularly good English. Where is Morgan's roommate from, and what's her name?
Argentina.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. The line broke up.
I said they're from Argentina.
Okay. And what is their name?
Maria is a good name, good Catholic name.
Sorry, did you say Mary or Marie?
Maria.
Maria.
Maria. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay. Brilliant. So there's just a few questions I'm going to ask now before we start. So I'm going to ask Donna. Sorry, I'm going to ask Sienna. Looking before Jasmine moved out, Jasmine was having trouble with her boyfriend. They were having loud arguments across the hall from you. Who was Jasmine's boyfriend? And what were they arguing about?
Should it be a boyfriend in or dorm, or could it be someone else?
It could be someone else if you want.
Let's make it Thomas. And she did not want to do drugs with him. I'm not sure whether she was casting aspersions on his brand or just doesn't want to do drugs at all.
Okay, Brilliant. Next, we'll go to Medea.
Mhm.
Medea, while going to use the showers one day, while you using the toilets that were coming off the ground floor common room, you discovered a pregnancy test. Hadn't been
My,
used, but whose was it?
It hadn't been used, but whose was it?
Yes, it had obviously fallen out of someone's bag. It was still in the packaging.
Well, let's go with let's go with Wendy.
Brilliant. Okay.
I think that's my other sympathetic token.
Oh yeah, perfect. Well, they wouldn't it have more power if it had been used?
Perhaps. But such an item is already, how should I put it, pregnant with potential.
Ooh.
Okay, Victor. Someone's very, very worried about you. Someone is worried that you're not only going to hurt yourself, but going to hurt someone else in the process. Who is that?
I think that's got to be Alistair.
Brilliant. And finally, Daniel. You've I need to think. I'm trying to think of one last question.
There is have we forgotten one room up on the top floor?
No, there's an empty room on the top
Okay.
floor.
Okay.
I will be addressing that in game. Someone has found your body, but not told anyone else. Who is it?
I think it was Maria.
Is that because she has struggled? She's having trouble with English. She doesn't know how to express it, or
I think she's already having some trouble fitting in, given that she doesn't speak English really well, and she doesn't really want to say, so I found the body of this boy who's still going here. Because that's kind of a hard social hurdle to jump.
and how has she approached you about it? How does she react to you?
I think she's a little wary of me, but also kind of not really just curious, but also kind of worried for me, because clearly something happened, and sort of that, do you need to talk to someone vibe, where she's trying to be helpful, but how do you help someone that you're pretty sure is dead?
Excellent. Okay, so in that case, then would people like a break before we start? So we'll take a 10-minute break. We'll come back at 22 the hour. Is that okay?
Cool. See you soon.
Okay. Welcome back. Sorry, I have to ask Donna.
Yep.
Am I getting your name? How do you actually pronounce your name? Because I suspect I'm getting it wrong.
No, it's pretty good. It's Donna.
Okay.
So-
There's a lady I work with that's Honor. That's basically your name without the D on the front. So
Okay.
I was going with the best guess.
Yeah, it's just the or Celtic fringe names have got to keep everyone else on their toes, right?
Oh yeah. My name's Gerwin, and I work in a call center. Gareth.
Okay, yeah.
Gareth. David, I've been called once.
David, okay.
I have no idea how that works, but as a result, I always try and get other people's names correct. Very rarely do, but I always try.
I appreciate it.
Whenever I sign for a delivery at the brewery I work at, they ask for like my surname, like which is Spraggart, and you can see they start trying to spell it, and then I spell it for them, and they generally get halfway through and then go, "I'll just put Paul."
Okay. So, is everyone ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
I've got to admit, I feel this room's too brightly lit for this, really. But oh well, beggars can't be choosers. Should actually have candle lights around and everything and play in the dark. But hey ho, let's get started. The sun rises. It rises slowly above the peak to the east of you. A huge hill that stands in the middle of lower hills. The mountain. Bryn Bran. The mountain, Bryn Bran, the sleeping giant, as it's known by the locals. The White Hill. The sun rises up over it, creeps to the top and floods down on the school below. We start our story as students make their way to school. It's early morning. Students walk up the hill from the dorm rooms to the old. It's not a castle so much as it's an old fortified manor. Drech Academy. Dragon Academy. An old structure, one dripping in history. As you walk up, you can see the buttresses. You can see where in the past it has been damaged and repaired. Newer stonework, replacing old damaged stonework. You can
Was
see
it burned in the Civil War?
You can see where the gatehouse was originally destroyed by the armies of Cromwell as he came into Wales. And you can see everywhere touches of the old and the new. One of the new things sitting right at the front of the school that leads up to the gatehouse is a ramp. Students file up the steps to the school grounds itself into the quad. But there, waiting at the base of the ramp, is a very pale individual, a very broken individual who sits in his chair and watches as the people walk past him, ignoring him. Until there, as the sun shadow casts a shadow and rises into the sky, a shadow falls over him. One he recognizes from a few days previously. It is Monday morning. And I'm trying to remember people's characters' names, and that's not doing the good job. Give me 2 seconds. and Sienna makes her way to him. What do you say to each other?
So do I catch Victor by surprise, or is it my shadow is the first thing you know about me?
His shadow is the first thing he sees about you. He's trying to move up the ramp himself.
So I think I just take one of the handles at the back and step around in front of him. Maybe I would have a chat first before I push him up the ramp. Morning, Victor. Sorry I'm late. I know I'm last to arrive, as always.
Oh, and the first thing, like as you like put your hands on the back of his chair, like he doesn't see you, and the first thing he does is like instinctively kind of like flinch round, like just to tell you to fuck off, like leave the, in fact maybe he starts saying that, he's like, fuck, and he's like sees you standing there behind him, he's like, oh it's you, oh yeah.
Don't worry, Gretcher. I'm always grouchy on a Monday morning too, Victor.
Yeah, well, seeing as it's my first day back at this place after my accident. God, it really sucks, and Victor, like, looks down at his legs and, like, they're all sort of bent and useless. And he's like, damn, doctors say I'm never going to walk again.
Well, that's horrible, Victor. But the doctors are getting better at their jobs every day, right? They're gonna come through for you.
As you two are talking, students are piling up the steps past you, moving much quicker. And you hear a voice shout out, "Oi, Sienna! Sienna!" And you look around, and Alistair and Liam are walking up the steps together. Liam's there with his hand slipped into the back of Alistair's trousers, into the back pocket, and they cast. Alistair casts a dark look. Just leave him be. Honestly, don't pander to him.
I mean, inside Sienna's mind, she's thinking she wishes she was the kind of girl who just flipped these guys a middle finger, but she's kind of waves at them. I'm all right.
Victor says, "Yeah, hey, Sienna, you really don't have to do this. You just leave me. I can get up there on my own. I'm gonna have to learn how to cope on my own. You really don't have to." But you can say secretly he's really hoping that you do push him. You do give him a hand.
Victor, didn't I tell you I would get you to class? I'm pretty sure we keep our promises around here. That's part of the school motto, isn't it? Or something. It's in the code of conduct.
What, the student handbook? You're telling me you actually read that shit?
Yeah, I mean, it's important, right? To know that everyone's on the same page.
Well, I kind of flicked through it, and it all blurred into one. It just said "no fun" on every page. Fun not allowed.
I think that means something different in Welsh.
So, Victor, can I ask, are you shutting him down here? Sorry, shutting her down here. I do apologise, getting misgendering.
No, I wasn't planning to. I was just trying to be aloof,
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want Sienna to know that, that I fancy her, basically. So I try to be cool.
So as you make your way to the top of the step and roll into the quad, your first lesson of the day is biology, which is up on the first floor. As a result of this, you two are the last two to arrive when you actually get to the lesson, and everyone is there. Standing at the front of the class is your biology teacher, Miss Griffiths, who, as you walk in, there is a picture up on projected onto the board itself of a dissected frog. Everyone sits at a table, and there is a tray in front of them with a cover over. And you can see a lot of the students there are actually looking down at these trays quite with a bit of disdain and a bit of distaste. All of the characters are there. Where is everyone seated?
I'm seated in the back, and like when dissection begins, I make the slightest pretense to kind of vaguely cut up the frog, like moving your food around the plate kind of thing. But I'm reading from Oscar Wilde's Portrait of Dorian Gray, with only the tiniest amount of surreptitiousness.
Okay. So as you're sitting there, yeah, you have the book up in front of you. You have it, the scalp in your hand, and you're moving the frog around the plate. The teacher looks over at you. Medea?
Yes.
What do you think you're doing?
Dissecting a frog, ma'am. What does it look like I'm doing? She says, and she gives a little bit of a cold half smile.
It doesn't look like you're dissecting a frog. You've got one head. You've got your head in that book.
Excuse me, my head is next to the book.
Miss Medea.
As you can see, my hands are clearly dissecting the frog, ma'am.
Miss Medea, would you please read out the paragraph that you're reading?
And I read from the, I feel like I've put the book over the lab instructions, but I read from the part in the lab instructions where I'm nominally supposed to be, that's not covered up by the book, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Step 4, make an incision by the frog's lower leg. Scintillating material, ma'am. I don't know where you find it.
Well, it's certainly not Shakespeare.
I feel like I'm trying to shut the professor down, right?
Okay. So
what is her name?
Miss Griffiths.
Poor Miss Griffiths, the biology teacher. I never much took to biology.
Okay. Can you roll to shut someone down?
Oh, I almost feel like I took the wrong character archetype right now. Not the wrong skin, but there's like 2 character builds under the skin. And it almost feels like I'm using the other one, but we shall see. I'll stick with what I have written on the page. 2d6.
Yeah.
That is a 2.
Okay. So can you gain a point of experience?
So this goes disastrously wrong for me.
Miss Medea, please come and see me after the lesson.
Fine.
You will also have detention later. Now, everyone else. Miss Medea's...
I don't see you.
Miss Medea, quiet. You have detention. Don't make me make it a lunchtime detention as well.
I shoot her the nastiest look, like I'm definitely gonna hex Miss Griffiths later.
Okay, so if she turns her back to you and starts pointing towards the diagram of the frog on the projector on the board, at which point Seb leans over to you and goes, and sorry, Seb, the Vietnamese student, leans over and goes, "I wouldn't take that from her."
Yes, well, there's a reason she's still single at 35.
Oh, I don't know. I would hit that. And she's quite a chubby woman, but she has the curves in the right places. But she obviously spends no effort looking after herself. So her hair is basically just held back in a ponytail. It's not brushed properly. Her clothing isn't styled for her. It's mainly a cardigan, sweater, and a shirt and shirt underneath, and work trousers. And so you think you're in trouble there?
And she just kind of rolls her eyes at the question.
Okay. Do you want a hand with that? Seb points to the frog.
Oh, well, I suppose I could use a little help. And I say, and I lean in like a little too close, having gotten a rather bright idea, and I'm definitely trying to turn someone on right now.
Okay. So
hopefully this one goes a little bit better. I could never figure out what's going on in these biology lectures.
Okay. So
that's a 6.
Okay. So what were you trying to do?
What I was trying to do was lay it on a little thick with Seb and hopefully get him to do all the heavy lifting on this lab.
Well, okay, so here, let me help. And he steps behind you and takes your hand, and basically he's obviously overread what's going on here. Gain an XP for the failed row. And he's literally standing behind you, lifting your hand up so you can do the cut yourself. He pushes down on to the actual abdomen of the frog and pulls the blade back, and the frog's internals become exposed. You look at them. You look in at them, and there's something not quite right about this. There's something there. You look at them, and can you please stare into the abyss?
Alrighty then. I'm pretty sure this one's gonna work. That's a 12.
Okay. So stare into the abyss. Sorry, gaze into the abyss. Okay. As you stare into these frog's entrails, your vision grows darker. The area around your vision grows darker. You can smell fire. You can feel a humidity on your face. You turn to look at the boiling beaker of water on a Bunsen burner next to you, and you can see the water boiling, and you can see figures within it. You can see bodies floating within it. And as you look at the beaker isn't a beaker anymore. The beaker is, it appears to be a bowl made out of leather. And you can see these dead bodies floating in this water. And you can see the water boiling and flashing. And as you stare, the bodies turn their heads to you, open their eyes, and reach out to pull themselves from the cauldron. And you're back in the room. Your face is covered in sweat. You are. How do you react?
I think Medea's a little freaked out. This isn't the first time, definitely, that she's received visions from the goddess, but this is one of the more disturbing ones, and to have it happen in the middle of something like this is weird and really uncomfortable. And like when she was expecting to kind of come down in her kind of sanctuary, like her room, instead she's being manhandled by a boy she doesn't even like that much. Like there's a moment where she suddenly comes back into her body, and then she like a little too harshly kind of like pushes Seb away. It's like an almost like unconscious reaction. Just like get off me. Like how one would like swat at a fly or something. And only kind of half processing that she's back in the real world, like almost purely instinctual, and it's too hard, and it pushes him over into the next table.
Okay, so he knocks the table, and the frogs and all the actual accoutrements on the table get knocked over. Who's on the table behind you? So, would any of the player characters be on the table behind?
I think it's Daniel, because we haven't heard from him yet.
Okay, brilliant. So Daniel, you're in the middle of dissecting your frog. When the table gets knocked, Seb gets thrown towards you, and he ends up tumbling into you and knocking you as well. Oh, I'm sorry. And he turns to Medea and Daniel, and I'm sorry. Are you okay? Medea, are you Mrs. Medea? Mrs. Griffith shouts from the front of the room.
Medea takes a moment to compose herself. She doesn't. Words aren't quite coming out.
And Daniel's just trying to pick himself up and help Seb up, and also retrieve the frog from where it's like splattered against his shirt and then fallen to the ground. And it's okay. It's not getting any deader. Try to pick up the bits that I'd cut out of it already and put them back where they're supposed to go.
Okay. So Seb sees that the frog has hit your shirt, and has it stained it?
Yeah, there's kind of a wet, vaguely froggy print on the front of my shirt. Maybe a bit also on the blazer, and yeah, kind of have formaldehyde smell for a while until I can find a way to get it off of this thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. he grabs paper towels and starts patting it down. I'm sorry. Do you want something towards your laundry to help get that out? He's a bit panicky. He wasn't expecting it to go like this.
And it's not your fault. It's Medea. Yeah, if anyone's to blame here.
He turns and looks at Medea. I went too far, and Mrs. Griffiths is just coming down on this. Miss Medea, can you go and stand outside, please?
And she's halfway between like incredibly ashamed of herself and like angry. So like what comes out is like fine, in that like half sullen, half enraged. She doesn't meet Mrs. Griffith's eyes, but she storms out in a huff. A half, like one of them is halfway between storming out in a huff and kind of dejected and shamefaced retreat.
Okay, so we will end that scene there. We will go up to lunchtime to the.
Could I? Sorry,
Yeah.
could I jump in? Could
Yeah.
I request this a short scene in the biology class?
By all means, yes.
Yeah. So I'd like because Sienna and I like came in last. We get two seats like right in the front.
Okay, yeah. Because no one wants to be at the front, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we're both sitting there like next to each other, like dissecting our frogs. And while Victor's like doing it, he's sort of leaning over to Sienna and whispering. He's like, this kind of reminds me of like when the doctors were operating on me in the hospital, trying to save my legs. Yeah, they cut me open, and I don't know, they were like, in there with their scalpels and their tweezers and stuff, like, and they were like trying to reattach like my nerve endings and stuff. It was, yeah, and I was, under anesthetic, isn't it? But I remember everything about it.
You remember everything?
I remember everything.
I think that means you weren't under anesthetic.
I've got a high tolerance for these kind of things, So, but yeah, I mean, and for a second, I was actually clinically dead as well.
I have a feeling this is turning Sienna on, right? Because you're triggering that move, right?
Yeah, I've got a mood called like the ending, when I remember every detail about my death, and when I tell somebody about it, yeah, I roll to turn them on, but use cold. And then I also give you the condition morbid.
Okay.
So
I think the initial reaction from Sienna is that she was about to make a large incision in this frog, and now she just can't bring herself to do it because she's imagining it in the way you described, that she is like cutting into Victor.
So I'm going to roll to turn you on with cold, which is +1. Hey, so I scored 8. That's a 9. So I've not played Monsterhearts for a while. Can I use one of the strings to boost that from a 9 up to a 10? Can I use one of the strings?
I think.
Yes, you can use a string to add 1 to your roll against them.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to use my string that I've got on Sienna to bump that up to a 10.
Okay, well, you'll gain a string on them, and they get to choose a reaction, which is either I give myself to you, I promise you something I think you want, or I get embarrassed and act awkward.
So I put my hand on Victor's hand. Maybe not the one with the scalpel, but the other one, if our seeing arrangement allows it. Victor, I think we have to find you some other way of getting better, because it really pains me to hear these terrible stories. Do you think we could use the schools? So now she's like rambling about crazy ideas that a 16-year-old might have about, how they can use the school or people they know to get Victor a better doctor. But
yeah, I don't need the doctors can't fix me. All I need to get better, Sienna, is you by my side.
Well, that's so sweet, Victor. If it helps, of course.
Cool. Yeah, I'm happy to cut it there.
Okay. So at that point, we cut the scene there. We will skip forward the rest of the school day. There is a quick scene I want to do with Medea in Mrs. Griffith's office, and then we'll cut to the afternoon in the common room at the dorm. So, Medea, you've been sent to Mrs. Griffith's office.
Alrighty then.
So you're standing outside the office. She's told you to meet her there. She still has to teach the rest of the class. What do you do?
I think Medea is, how should I put it? I'm just almost just like compulsively sticky fingered. And I start like if there's like books, I'm rifling through her books. But then I'm trying to go through her personal things, like digging around her desk.
Okay.
Seeing if I can't find, which it's not even like there's not even a super intent to it. I'm just seeing what there is, digging through her life.
Okay. As you come into the office, you can see that there's actually a picture on her desk of a young child, maybe 3-4-year-old, a young girl. As you go looking around the desk, you look through her books. You come across you see all the big textbooks on the wall itself. There's all the biology textbooks there, the proper use of the school rules and the educational supplements that she's in for. You come across a small little look. It could be a diary. It could be some sort of a notebook, but it's sealed with a lock.
I think is there any way I could open it now?
The only way you'd be able to open it now, you'd have to force it open, and that would permanently damage the lock.
Well, I think Medea spends about a half second weighing her options, but she's really feeling super petty right now. So she pockets it.
Okay.
And then sits down in the student chair. Like make sure everything is back where it was originally and sits down in the student chair.
Brilliant. Can you mark a personal a sympathetic item for Miss Griffiths, please?
Certainly.
You're there about 10 minutes before she comes up. She opens the door. She walks in. She sees you and she sighs and throws her bag down behind her desk and sits down herself. Medea.
Miss Griffith.
What was that all about in there?
Seb was getting handsy with me. I can't help it the way teenage boys are.
Sorry, he was getting handsy with you?
Yeah.
Do you want to make a complaint?
No, I don't want to make trouble.
We have to take incidents like this very seriously. Are you sure that he was being handsy with you?
Look, boys will be boys.
We have a very strict discrimination policy and harassment policy at this establishment.
God, Miss Griffith, you're such a tight ass.
Less of that language, lady.
Excuse me.
She takes
I
out.
believe you are applying the rules in an overly strict fashion, Mrs.
So you don't wish to make a complaint? Fine. She puts the clipboard down. She puts the pen down. So, what happened? What is up with you? You're not normally this twitchy. Is something a problem at home?
Look, I'm fine, Mrs. Griffith. With all due respect, madam, I don't really need a washout biology instructor to be butting in on my life. Like, she understands the first thing about it.
We are a pastoral institution. If you are in trouble, or if there is any trouble that you're in, we can help you. Fine. No, if you're going to be like that.
Some things are
fine.
just between a girl and her goddess.
I have no idea what that means.
Fine. A boy and his god in your language.
Okay. Miss Medea, I'm giving you a detention for this lunch hour. You should not, despite the fact what you say Seb did, you should not attack students. So she hands you a slip.
Miss Griffith, I'm not fucking Jacob. Sorry.
I can't discuss what happens with other students. That is a disciplinary matter, and I'm not going to discuss it with you here and now.
I'm sorry. I'll apologize to Sarah. And this
No,
pains Medea.
by the sounds of it, it sounds like he should apologize to you, but you won't let us do anything about this. Fine. If that's how you're going to be, fine. The door's over there.
Fine. I get up. Go fucking detention. Detention.
Language.
And I walk out of the room.
And yeah, when you close the door, you're standing outside and you can just hear a, oh, give me strength. So we cut to later that night. It's a Monday night. Do any of your characters have after school clubs that you go to?
I've got an after school club, 420.
Does anyone have any scenes that they want to frame?
I imagine that if Victor has an after school club, I am now in it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, what would it be? What would Victor be into?
Motorcycle maintenance.
Was there an auto shop?
He was part of the track team, surely.
Yeah, I like it. Ooh. Mm. Yeah, okay. How about yeah, it's the athletics club. Victor was on the athletics club. And like it's the first, it's the first practice. He's obviously he can't go, but he's gonna go and attend anyway, like in his wheelchair and watch like from the sidelines.
Okay. Is there anyone else who feels that they would be part of the athletic team?
Daniel isn't in any clubs, but he does float around and kind of observe the clubs.
Okay. So we'll have the athletic grounds. We'll actually have the what are they called? The beaches. Beaches. So you actually have the seating, and then you have that area just under the seating. I don't know what they're actually called. The bleachers.
Yeah,
bleachers.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll have We'll have Victor at the actual bleachers, and we'll have Daniel come along. So tell me how that goes.
I think I'm there as well, obviously, but maybe I've just popped to get a cup of coffee or tea or something like that. So I'm not around when Daniel arrives.
Okay. So before we start there, so do you go everywhere with Victor then, or is it just to help them around school itself?
Well, I think originally it was just up and down the ramp, but today it is everywhere.
Okay, that's fine.
This is also his first day back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So, Daniel, would you like to frame this scene?
Sure. So the athletic club is busy warming up, going through their pre-activity stretches and everything. And Victor is parked kind of next to the bleachers.
Yeah.
Where his wheelchair won't be in the way, waiting for Santa to get back. And Daniel just kind of drifts in, standing a little bit behind it to the side of Victor. Like, people don't usually notice him. It's fine. He doesn't need to announce himself to Victor. But after a moment says, why do you torture yourself like this?
I'm not. What are you saying? What? I'm not torturing myself. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna be back out on that track. I had the record. I had the record for the 100-meter sprint. I'm not gonna let one of these idiots break my record this year.
And as you look across the track, you do actually see the people actually trying out for your vacated position. In fact, you see someone that you know quite well doing it. Hugo. And he's setting a very good time. A very good time. As you watch, you say that that's close to the time you used to get yourself.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Hugo, I say. I hate. God, I hate that. I hate that prick. He's rich. He's entitled. He thinks everything. He gets everything served up to him on a silver platter.
Me too. I mean, since you moved out and he moved in, I think his side of the room is like 3/4 of the room. I'm running out of space.
Yeah, it gets real. It gets real lonely in that room on my own. I really miss. I miss the times we used to hang out together, like in the, in the dorm room together.
I mean, I told them we could make it work, but I guess they needed the extra wheeling room. I mean, maybe it would be kind of cramped with the beds. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Daniel.
Yeah?
you know, I'm, and like Victor's like, he's kind of you can tell he's like wants to say something.
And Daniel kind of comes around a bit so that he can actually look straight at Victor.
Said you okay, Jordan?
What happened?
And then uses his poltergeisty ability to throw Medea across the room.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was leaning back in my fucking chair. That was my chair has wheels. I didn't have to lean back very far. In fact, I wasn't even leaning back in my chair. Like, I just leaned too hard on it.
Wow, you've been hexed. So like Daniel was like, I'm staring at Daniel. I'm like, I'm sorry, man.
Sorry about what? I say I'd kind of lean in a little bit, and it's still this kind of froggy outline that reeks of formaldehyde on my uniform, and as always, the sort of hems of my uniform and trousers are kind of muddy. I mean, I haven't been around mud, but it just seems I'm always a little muddy and damp these days. Sort of like I was run over on a road somewhere.
And like, it's like right on the tip of his tongue. It's like Victor like wants to kind of admit what he's done, and he's like, I'm sorry for like moving out and you having to deal with that prick Hugo, man. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it's not like you chose to break your legs or anything. Although, I don't know, some of the choices you do make are a little wild, but yeah.
As you're standing there, you get a distinct aroma that comes over you. You can smell the very pungent smell of burning weed. As you see two legs actually stand directly in front of you, on the bleachers, on the seats.
I sort of sniff and then straighten up to look at where the weed smell is coming from.
Okay. As you look up, you see Thomas sitting there, smoking a spliff. Doesn't seem to care the fact that he's actually doing it out in the open. You can see that the fact that he's doing it has been noticed by several of the other students as well. In fact, certain of them are making a beeline towards him.
Yeah. Someone thinks he's invincible.
As they get closer, you can hear several of them come up and do you have? Can I have a? Can I have a half? Yeah. He reaches in and he starts dealing in front of you. I have to admit, OC, I know absolutely nothing about drugs and the volumes and the actual nomenclature, so I'm probably going to get this wrong. But he starts selling right in front of you. At this point, either of you can take a string on him if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to take a string, and I'd like to buy some of that weed off him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to say, yeah. So, hey, Thomas, can you sort me out, man? You know, I need it.
Yeah. What you after?
You know, for medical purposes.
You know? Yeah, medical purposes. Yeah. How bad is your need for medical? What sort of dose are we looking at?
Well, I was dead. You see.
Oh no! Don't start with this again.
I was clinically
No,
dead,
don't start with this again. You seriously, you make the people most morbid shits with all this little talk. I don't care about that shit. How much do you want?
Oh, so you're trying to shut down the experience of someone who is in a traumatic accident and is now disabled.
Shit, man, that's
Yeah,
not what I mean. But you're killing my buzz with all this talk of being dead and shit. Look, it happened. I'm willing to help you, but really, man, I don't need to know all the details. You don't need to overshare. I'm not your therapist.
Well, I'm going to tell him all the details.
Actually, I am your therapist, but that's not quite what I mean. How much do you want?
Enough to kill this eternal pain that racks my body every waking moment. I'd like to shut him down with that move.
Please, yeah, by all means.
Yeah. So that's cold, isn't it?
That is indeed cold.
Okay. That's got a 7. That's got an 8.
Okay, so shutting someone down. On a 7 to 10, choose one of the below, but you come across poorly and they give you a condition as a result.
So I'd like to give him the condition drug dealer.
Okay. He will actually return the favor that you gave to someone earlier and give you the condition morbid.
Ooh. Okay.
So
carry on.
Oh, I was gonna say about you're talking about how you died and came back and you're just racked with terrible pain and everything. I think that brings to mind the fact that I was indeed plowed down and died. And I just kind of freeze and stop processing what's going on for a moment because I gain the condition traumatized.
Oh, yes, of course. Your ghost move.
Yeah. So Daniel has visibly checked out of this conversation, despite still being right there, standing in front of you.
Well, is this all happening where I left Victor, or is that?
Yeah, exactly there. I imagine this to be a great time for you to come back with like the 2 cups of tea.
Yeah. So I have, I don't know. Does Victor? I imagine Victor drinks like the treacliest of strong coffees.
Yeah.
But if you're just a tea person, that's fine.
Oh no, it's definitely coffee. Yeah. He wants a thrill. Triple shot.
Triple shot. More sugar
full fat
than
milk. Yeah.
All of your vices in one.
Yeah.
Well, not all of the vices yet. And then in the other hand, I have like this elderberry tea. And I guess I'm surprised to see Daniel here, and I kind of try to get his attention, but I can't wave my hand or anything like this, because I maybe balance them and kind of wave in front of his eyes to grab his attention.
And Daniel kind of snaps to it. Oh, Sienna, hi. Kind of just hugs himself.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just kind of had a moment, and it's kind of rubbing at his arm and getting the formaldehyde smell ground even further into his shirt. And there's kind of bits of mud at the end of his blazer. What's the word? Cuff, I suppose, the edge of the sleeve. And he just looks a bit of a mess.
You should try some of this tea. I find it really calming.
If you want to go calming, I've got something that can help there as well.
Daniel,
he takes out a spliff and offers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise this. I heard it's bad shit.
Hey, I'll have you know this is the best stuff you're likely to get up in these hills.
It's the only stuff you're going to get up in these hills.
That's beside the point. Take it or leave it.
I think I'll go with the tea, thank you.
Your loss. Anyway,
Yeah, Victor's
I
gonna.
have.
He'll hand over like a £20 note and be like,
Yeah, and
give us a baggie.
He'll hand over the appropriate amount of weed and a little bit of oregano on top. Because they are cutting it. They're trying to make as much money as possible. And so, hey, I've got deals to do. Don't smoke it all at once, but if you do, you know where to find me.
Oh my god, if they're actually cutting her with oregano, it's going to be so bad on her lungs.
So Victor will say to Daniel and Sienna, he's like, so, anyone want to go back to my room, listen to Dark Side of the Moon? Waving the little baggie.
I think I'll pass on the oregano. Thank you. What? I'm just kind of clutching his tea like a lifeline.
So I think Sienna's obviously going to go along with Victor, but she rubs kind of Daniel's upper arm, maybe just above his elbow, and says, grab me later if you need to, talk about it, or not.
Yeah, I might. Thanks. I'm just gonna kind of sidle. Well, the bleachers are pretty full of people, so I think I'm gonna kind of step a little bit away and try to just focus on watching the practice.
Okay, so she gives a cheery wave and see you later, and off with Victor.
Does that count as resolving traumatized, I suppose, because you were trying to cheer me up, or is that still hanging around?
No, I think if you'd taken her up on the offer, that would have actually helped to resolve the traumatized.
Okay.
So I would say at this point you're still traumatized.
I am traumatized and watching practice, but I stole her tea.
Okay.
You come and get bait. You come and get bait with this, man.
So if Daniel is promising that he's going to call over later, then you get an XP.
Oh, sure. Daniel,
I have the lure move.
Yes.
Okay, so revise what I said then. Daniel's like, I think I'm going to take a moment here, but yeah, I'll be up in a bit.
Okay. So you do gain XP for that. If you don't go up there, then someone else gains XP as well, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah. If you don't follow through your promises, I'm getting XP and I get a string on you. And other terrible fairy things, but
Okay. So Daniel, you're feeling traumatized at the moment. When the world gets to you, where do you go to? Where's your special place? Where's the place you go to calm down?
Look at our school map again.
It doesn't have to be within the dorm. This is a very old. This is a very old castle. It also has all the local amenities a town would have in South Wales. So a very old graveyard and a church. It's probably got a river going down the hill itself, and an old stone bridge that goes across it. And the local town probably has a pub. You won't be able to serve alcohol there, but you would be able to go there and order soft drinks, if nothing else. Or are you the sort to hang around the library? Or
man, there's so many good options in there. I think I'm gonna go full morbid ghosty and say that I like to hang out sort of at the kind of the edge of the graveyard where the river runs past it. It's nice and quiet, and you can kind of see the gravestones. Maybe there's like a memorial bench or something there you can sit on and just kind of watch the river go by.
Okay, so you're sitting in the graveyard all alone. What time of day is it? Is it getting on into evening now, or is it full blown night?
I think it's just getting on into evening.
Okay. So you're sitting in the graveyard, and as you're sitting there staring at the stones, you hear something moving through the graveyard on soft feet. A few moments later, a raggedy old dog jumps up onto the grave beside you. It stops, almost startled, and then
Gonna-
just lays down on its legs and lays down on its front legs and starts just staring at the gravestone with you.
Gonna put out a hand kind of toward it so that it can sniff me, because I know you don't go petting strange dogs right away. And like, oh, hello, I didn't notice you there.
It turns over and sniffs your hand and jerks away slightly.
I suppose anyone watching can see that Daniel is just crestfallen by this, because a dog shows up just to slight him, and it pulls his hand back and tightens back into himself, because clearly he can't go petting this dog.
The dog's reaction seems to change entirely. While it was, if not friendly, it was non-committal earlier. You can hear a low growl coming from it.
It's okay. I'm not dangerous or anything. I'm just sitting here. Nice dog.
Oi, you, laddie, get away from that beast. And an older man wearing a flat cap and body warmer and tweed jacket, tweed shirt, comes wandering up. He's holding a spade. Get away from that animal! Shoo! Shoo! And the dog sees him and bolts.
I think when he's yelling "shoo shoo," I kind of startle up like he's shooing me as well, and I'm prepared to just kind of run off.
Oh no! Oh, calm down, lad. Calm down. I'm sorry. What are you doing at the graveyard this time of night?
Well, it was just afternoon, I suppose, when I got here. But time gets away from you. It's just a nice, quiet spot.
Aye, you're right, lad. It is, but sorry, that mutt keeps on sneaking into the yard and trying to dig up the graves.
Oh, ew.
Yeah,
He didn't seem terribly friendly.
I don't think I've seen you around here before. Are you new? Are you up at the school?
Yeah, I go to the school. I'm going to gesture back in its direction. Don't come out here too often.
Pleasure.
I lie through my teeth because I'm out here all the time.
Pleasure to meet you. I'm Hugh the Dig.
Oh, I'm Daniel Moran.
He holds out
Can
his
I hold out
hand
hand?
and he shakes your hand. It's a really firm handshake. So, everything okay, lad? Most folk wouldn't come to a graveyard to be alone.
Yeah, it's just the school is kind of busy. There's people everywhere. Yeah, at least the people here are quieter.
Well, if you're hanging around, I'm making a cuppa. Do you want one?
Oh, I should get back to the dorms. I promised someone I'd go and.
Okay. Well, take care of yourself, and if you're down here and you see that mutt again, just shoot off, will you?
Okay.
Anyway, I've got to get back. Got to make sure this place is spotless for the Johnson funeral at the weekend.
And I'm making a mental note that I shouldn't come out this weekend because it's going to be full of people. But as this conversation's going on, Daniel's looking more and more flustered, like it's running longer than he expected, and he's getting extra nervous because he didn't think he'd have to talk to anyone out here. And as soon as there's that opening that he's got to go get ready for the Dobson funeral, Daniel's just, okay, yes, nice to meet you, sir, and just bolts.
That's fine. Hugh the Gravedigger moves back to the church, and he doesn't stop you. He basically just watches you run off and then gets on with his business. Okay, so we will cut now to Victor's room. Victor.
Yep.
Okay, so can you describe your room, please?
So I imagine like these rooms, they're quite well sort of appointed, these private suites. 'Cause, I mean, this used to be Hugo's room as well, so it's only the best for Hugo. Maybe I imagine there's kind of wood paneling on the walls, maybe a few like kind of framed like portraits and stuff. So a bit of like antique sort of furniture, like Victorian sort of furniture, like dotted around. Yeah, like Victor's like he's covered up these portraits that are like hanging up. He's covered them up with like kind of like rock band posters and stuff. And yeah, I'd like to have invited Hugo up to my room to smoke some of this weed with me, if possible.
Okay, so is Sienna going to be there?
If she wants to be, it's up to Sienna. Yeah, I invited her, but I understand if she's not into like getting high, that's fine.
Yeah, I think she's reticent because she has heard some bad things about Thomas's weed. And I think if you have company, she might say she'll call up later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Victor and Hugo. So
Well,
Hugo,
if there's weed being smoked in the next room, Medea definitely invites herself. Assuming she's not still in detention.
oh, no, detention was only for lunchtime. So this is in the evening. You are at your liberty now. So how does that go? How do you invite yourself?
Well, I think it's only about 2 minutes after they first toked up, and the smell starts coming about. Like you hear some clattering, and Medea basically just walks through the door like this is her own fucking room, like she hasn't been here 10,000 fucking times. Sits down in one of the kind of available chairs, and it's just like, "Oi, boys, we token? Come on, pass me. Hit me up."
Hey, well, yeah. So don't bother knocking or anything, Medea.
I hope this isn't Thomas's stuff.
Well, who else's stuff is it going to be? He's the only person dealing around here.
No, I used to be able to get so much better shit back home.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's hiding the real dank stuff.
Oh, he's going to use that himself, but it's a real pity we can't actually get some of this stuff ourselves, and we'd just slaughter them. We would absolutely slaughter them.
Are you sure, Hugo? Are you sure you should be like going too hard? You shouldn't be puffing too hard on that thing. Surely it's bad for your lung capacity. If you're on the track team and all, and you want to break my record this year.
Hey,
maybe you should clean up a little bit, man. Get with a healthy lifestyle.
This room smelt this way before you moved in, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, again, I'm sorry about that, man. Really, I didn't ask to be put up in your room. I didn't ask for you to be kicked out. But student services, they were like, it's the only room that can be adapted into like for this thing, and like he taps his wheelchair that he's in. I'm really sorry. Like, I didn't want you to be turfed out of your room.
Hey, I have no problem with that. I have absolutely no problem with it. Well, that's not true. Have you tried? Have you seen that that waif that I have to share a bunk with? Goodness, it's like living with a ghost or something. No personality. Absolutely no personality. It's like I've got the place to myself. Really.
Ah, what? Daniel?
Yeah. Have you seen him? He's just there's nothing there. I mean, half the time he's not in the room. Goodness knows where he goes.
Yeah. Maybe you just need to get to know. He's a good guy, Daniel. Maybe you just need to get to know him a bit. Get to know him a bit better. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a creepy fuck.
Yeah, the guy is a creepy fuck.
And as you're saying that, there's a sort of timid knock at the door because you did invite Daniel up here earlier.
We did, yeah.
Okay. So
Let yourself in, Medea says.
Door kind of creaks open and Daniel looks at it like, oh, is Sienna here? Trying to peer through all of the smoke.
No. She's too good. She's too good for this.
Oh,
and like when Hugo says that, like Victor, like just sort of his head like snaps and like stares like and gives daggers, like right at.
And Hugo's
Right,
not
Hugo.
noticing. He's slightly in the haze, and he's not really paying attention to most people in the room. But hey, Daniel, come over here.
Oh, I didn't know Hugo would be here. I say to Victor.
Here, come on, try some of this. Try some of this.
Daniel.
Hey, you don't have to, Daniel. You know it's fine. Don't have to bow to the peer pressure. It's fine. If you don't want to, it's fine.
And Hugo will breathe in slowly.
Perfectly fine to be a little chicken shit.
And breathe out in a very stylized ways. Come on.
Oh, I imagine he blows the smoke like right in Daniel's face, like
yeah.
And the smoke
definitely.
almost seems like it kind of just goes through him.
It's almost, in fact, the way he does it is very, very sensual.
But you like watching more than you like doing, don't you? Says Medea with a kind of wag for eyebrows and a little wink.
I can participate, and kind of closes the door behind him a bit too quickly, and just
don't worry,
very timid. Like he's worried about how much space he's taking, even though he's kind of tiny.
So what's Alistair like?
I don't know. I haven't seen him a lot lately. I'm kind of, I guess, perch on the corner of Hugo's bed. Maybe I'm trying to find a seat where I'm not really in anyone's way and I'm not totally participating, because normally I am just watching instead of part of the group.
Hugo
does seem rather on the well-hung side.
Daniel visibly has so many regrets about joining this room.
And Hugo's reached into his pockets and he's idly shuffling a set of cards. Come on then, spill the beans. Come on, you've surely got to first base. Second?
I guess it was too much to handle. He does have trouble keeping it down, it looks like.
Do we have to talk about Alistair right now? I mean, that was kind of a bit awkward. And
Victor, you see that skirting board over there?
Yeah. What about it?
I want to show you a little trick. He gets up and he basically pulls the skirting board away from the wall. And he takes out an 8-pack I forgot to take them when I left. He puts the beers down in the middle of the room.
Mm,
Help yourself, guys. My treat.
excellent. Nice. And I pick up like one of the cans. I'm like, wow, this is some of that craft beer shit. This is like the artisan stuff as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you sure got expensive tastes.
Well, but when you have the money, you can actually indulge those tastes.
Yeah.
When you get the opportunity, you've got to take it. You've got to take it by the throat. He cracks one open.
Here.
And throws one to Medea.
Medea picks it up, looks at it, and she puts it down.
Mm.
And then she says, "I'm sorry, boys. No liquor passes these lips."
Oh, come on. You're willing to toke, but you're not willing to drink.
You know what that stuff does to your body?
And Daniel seizes the opportunity to participate in a way that might make Medea look a bit silly, and just picks up the beer, cracks it, and takes a swig. Like, look at me, I can drink.
At which point, can you roll to shut Medea down, please?
Mm.
Yes, I can totally do that. That's only a 4, but I've got a -1 cold, so that's a 3.
Great. Okay.
Weed doesn't give you a
I
beer
forgot
gut.
that I didn't take the cold specialty.
So when you open it up, you take a drink, and you haven't drunk really before, and this is actually really quite high strength stuff. It's very, very fizzy as well, which you weren't expecting. So you go and you gag a little bit as it goes down the wrong way.
Yeah, and I don't drink much lately, what with being dead, so it's a little
Yeah.
odd to me.
I would like you to actually have the condition lightweight, please.
Yes.
And while we're here, I would actually like to cut the scene here and go over to Sienna. Sienna, where are you while this is going on?
So Sienna is sitting on her bed. She has a large notebook, and she has loads of pressed flowers, which she gathers from the river side, and she is sketching them. And she is just one eye on her sketch, one eye on the door, which is probably open. She's she's looking into the kitchen because she knows that's where she should be, but she had assumed that Daniel would call to her room. So she is being more like Wendy than Wendy at the moment.
Okay, can you please mark experience, because Daniel has not come up to your room later as he promised.
Daniel's tried. He thought you would be in Victor's room.
So if this counts as a broken promise, I am also taking a strain on Daniel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. Because he's definitely not complying with the letter of the law here.
And as you're there sketching these flowers, you keep on looking to the door, expecting Daniel to come, and you sigh, you sketch, and you hear a whisper, Sienna.
Hello?
Can you hear me, Sienna? And the voice is getting louder and louder.
Where does it sound like it's coming from?
It's coming from your book of pressed flowers.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can definitely hear you. Actually, just so I don't seem weirder than I am, I'm going to put in my earphones like I could be on a call with somebody on the phone. And I'm going to say, yes, I can hear you.
Open me. I can't see you.
Oh, so I'm going to flip pages until I find whatever Hawthorne that this voice sounds like it is.
As you open the book, the pressed flowers appear to burst out into the room. They swirl all around you and eventually coagulate into what looks to be a woman, a very beautiful woman. Sienna, you've been
Well,
away.
hello.
You've been away too long, and we're
Have
at
I?
time, so we'll leave that there. So that's the end of our 3 hours. So thank you guys. I've really enjoyed tonight.
Yeah, it's a good start. Yeah, good characters.
I'm wondering whether 2 sessions would be enough. If people are interested, I'd be willing to add a third session on again, so we have a little bit more time to actually develop the story.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Would that be like basically the Sunday after next? Yeah.
The Sunday after next, I'm running a different Monsterhearts game, but
Okay.
I can work out something with people if you want. I'm supposed to have 3 sessions of this one. Then I'm running 4 sessions of one set during World War II during the evacuation.
Yeah.
So with children being sent out to the countryside.
Oh, I'm in that one, so I guess I am new Monsterhearts regardless.
But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I'd be up for getting a third session of this in at some point.
Okay, so if we discuss this during the week.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I will end the broadcast here.